In an airplane, you can go from one time zone to another very quickly. So when you get a weather briefing or file a flight plan, you need to make sure that you and the person you're communicating with are referring to the same time. Now there's a solution to that problem, and it's called Coordinated Universal Time, which is abbreviated UTC. Now, that should be CUT, right? But it's international, and everyone has agreed to use the abbreviation as it appears in the French, Italian, Spanish, and the other Romance languages. But when you give someone the time and use UTC, it's a little cumbersome to say Coordinated Universal Time every time you talk about it. So instead, you use the words Zulu time from the letter Z in the International Phonetic Alphabet. That's the name of UTC. Now, Zulu time is based on the time it is at the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, England. And that's because the 0-degree longitude line called the prime meridian passes through there. Along with Zulu time, you also use the 24-hour clock in aviation to simplify time conversions. That's the way the military expresses time, and a lot of people refer to the 24-hour clock as military time. Now, it starts out at midnight at 0000. Then at 11 a.m., for instance, would be 1100. And when you get to 1 p.m., instead of starting over, well, you just keep the numbers rolling. So 1 p.m. is 1300. So what time would 11:30 at night be? You've got it, 23:30. The first two digits are the hour, and the next two are for the minutes. Efficient, unambiguous, no colons, no AM, PM, just 4 digits. Add the letter Z, and aviation folks everywhere will know the exact moment you're talking about. In aviation, your airport, airway, airspace, and weather data are usually given in UTC. You don't have to be concerned about whether it's daylight or standard time or what time zone or anything like that. For example, control tower hours of operation and airport information broadcasts are given in Zulu time.
Time 2250 Zulu.
All aviation weather reports and forecasts use it too. It's used when air traffic control procedures require a time reference. And finally, to keep everything perfectly clear, you file your flight plans using Zulu time. Looking at this map, you see the 4 time zones with a number in each one. Now, the numbers are the time differences between the local standard time in the zone and the time at Greenwich. By the way, Zulu time never goes on daylight savings. For example, if you start when the sun is directly over the meridian at Greenwich, in other words, noon at Greenwich, it's going to be 6 hours before you would see the sun in the same relative position here in Chicago. Meanwhile, the clock in Greenwich has been ticking merrily on for 6 hours. So then, when it's noon in Chicago, what time is it in Greenwich, England? Okay, 1200 plus 6 hours is 1800. And since it's at Greenwich, that's 1800 Zulu, or UTC. Here's another example. Say you depart at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time for a 4-hour flight to a destination in the Mountain Time Zone. At what Zulu time and Mountain Standard Time will you get there? Well, looking at the map, you see that the time difference for Mountain Standard is 7 hours, and Pacific Standard is 8 hours. So first, add 8 hours to Pacific Standard Time to get 1830 Zulu as your departure time. Then add 4 hours for the length of the flight, and you'll arrive at 2230 Zulu. And finally, to convert to Mountain Standard Time, subtract 7 hours to give, yes, you've got it, 1530 Mountain Standard Time. Now, if someone asks you the time, you can tell them the answer without even knowing where they are located and what time zone they're in.